Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we dig into the sources and the research to bring you insights that hopefully really sharpen your view of the world. Have you ever been totally convinced about something? Or maybe made a snap decision, felt a real fear, just based on one, really vivid story you came across? Like maybe a dramatic news report that suddenly made you wary of something you'd barely thought about before.
Yeah.
Well, that instant feeling, that sort of gut reaction, often stems from a pretty fascinating way our minds work. Today, we're doing a deep dive into your sources on something called the availability heuristic.
Right?
Think of it as understanding one of the mind's most common shortcuts. Powerful, but sometimes maybe a bit misleading.
Exactly. Our mission today really is to unpack this. We want to give you a new lens, you could say, to view your own thoughts, but also the news you see, the ads, even how public policies get shaped.
Okay.
By the end of this, you'll hopefully spot this heuristic in action, understand its pull, and maybe, just maybe, be a bit better armed against its less helpful signs.
Right, knowing when your brain's taking that shortcut.
Precisely. And knowing when you might need to sort of take the longer, more deliberate path to get a clearer picture.
Okay, so let's jump right in then. The availability heuristic. It sounds maybe a bit technical,
It can, yeah.
but the core idea seems pretty straightforward once you get it. Our sources call it a mental shortcut, right? Like a mind's shortcut to judgment.
That's a good way to put it.
So instead of our brains carefully weighing up every single option or all the probabilities or digging through tons of data.
Which takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, exactly. We tend to rely on what just pops into our head most easily. The memories, the images, the stories that are most, available.
Spot on. The core idea, fundamentally, is that our mind assumes something. It assumes. If I can remember this really quickly and it feels vivid, then it must be common. Or likely, or just plain important. It's an almost automatic jump. We confuse the ease of remembering with the actual likelihood or frequency out there in the world.
That confusion seems key.
It is. And the critical thing to remember, the big caveat, is that what pops into mind easily isn't always accurate. Not by a long shot.
Right.
In fact, it often leads us pretty far astray, causing us to misjudge risks and probabilities, sometimes quite significantly.
Okay, that distinction, ease of recall versus actual probability, that's huge. So why? Why do our brains work like this? What makes certain memories or bits of info so available, so quick to jump out? It feels like there has to be some reason behind it, not just random chance.
Oh, it's definitely not random. The sources point to three really powerful factors that make information highly available.
Okay, what are they?
First one is just ease of recall. Simple as that. Events that are recent or really dramatic or carry a strong emotional punch, they just stick better. They leave a deeper imprint.
Oh, like something that just happened yesterday?
Exactly. Think about it. If you heard a really scary story yesterday about someone getting bitten by a dog in your local park, that specific, vivid incident, it's going to loom much larger in your mind than, say, some dry statistics you read last year about dog bites overall.
Yeah, totally.
The emotion, the recency, it makes that memory instantly accessible. And because it's accessible, it feels more relevant, more likely to happen again right now.
Got it. So recency and drama, what else?
Then there's the huge one. Media exposure. News, social media, even movies and TV shows, they tend to amplify rare but really striking events.
Yes.
Think about plane crashes or shark attacks. Statistically incredibly rare.
Right, very rare.
But when they do happen, boom, wall-to-wall coverage, intense headlines, dramatic pictures, emotional interviews.
It's everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our brains get bombarded with these vivid, often sensationalized narratives. And that makes these rare events feel much more frequent, much more probable than they actually are. It completely warps our sense of risk.
So the news cycle basically feeds the heuristic.
It absolutely can, yeah.
Yeah.
And the third factor, maybe the most powerful, personal experience.
Okay. Things that happen to us.
Exactly. Direct, firsthand experiences just carry so much more weight. They're way more readily recalled than abstract numbers or even a story someone else told you.
Makes sense.
Like if you've personally been in even a minor car accident, a little fender bender, you're probably going to drive more carefully afterwards, maybe overestimate the risk of another one happening soon, much more than someone who's only read accident statistics.
Because you felt it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That direct emotional sensory input creates this incredibly available memory. It feels intensely real, and it really influences how you see things going forward. And what's really interesting is how these three ease of recall, media hype, personal experience, They don't work in isolation. They often mix together, reinforcing each other.
Creating this potent mix.
Yeah, a potent mix that paints a compelling picture in our minds.
Yeah.
But often a picture that's quite distorted from reality.
Okay, that framework makes a lot of sense. We're drawn to the loud, the recent, the personal. So let's talk examples. Where does this actually show up in everyday life? I bet once we hear a few, we'll start seeing it everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Here you
Yeah.
go. One of the classic examples, maybe the most relatable, is the fear of flying versus driving.
Oh, yeah. Definitely felt that one.
Right. Most people, if you ask them, express more anxiety about getting on a plane than getting in a car.
Even though we know intellectually the stats say driving is riskier.
Exactly. Statistically, driving carries a much higher risk per mile. But think about how plane crashes are covered.
Huge news. Dominates everything.
For days, sometimes weeks, the coverage is intense, vivid, full of emotion. We see the wreckage, hear the tragic stories. Those images get burned into our memory.
Mm-hmm.
Car accidents, meanwhile, they happen constantly. But because they're so common, they rarely make national news unless it's a huge pileup or something particularly awful.
So they just don't have that same availability.
Precisely. The availability of those dramatic plane crash images makes flying feel more dangerous, regardless of what the objective data tells us. Our feelings override the facts because of the vivid recall.
Okay, flying versus driving, check. What's another common one?
How about the lottery belief? Well, the feeling that maybe, just maybe, you've got a decent shot at winning.
Ha! Yeah, despite the astronomical odds.
Right. But think about what you see. Commercials with beaming winners holding giant checks. News stories about someone local striking it rich.
They make it look so easy, so possible.
And that's the availability heuristic in action. Seeing those ads, hearing those specific winner stories, which are designed to be memorable, makes the idea of winning feel closer, more achievable.
So the availability of winner stories makes us overestimate our own chances.
Exactly. Your brain kind of equates seeing winners frequently with the likelihood of being a winner. It's a very effective marketing tactic, playing directly on this bias.
Sneaky. Okay, one more. How about something closer to home?
Sure. Think about crime perception. This happens all the time. You hear about a couple of, say, burglaries or maybe a mugging on the local news, perhaps even just a few streets away.
Right, and suddenly you feel like things are getting really bad.
Exactly. It's easy to start feeling like your neighborhood is suddenly much less safe, even if the official crime statistics for your area are actually stable, or maybe even going down.
You get jumpier, maybe more suspicious.
It's a textbook case. Those vivid news reports about specific, isolated crimes, they are highly available in your memory. They spark fear, a sense of immediate threat.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the overall data paints a different picture, those emotionally charged incidents tend to override it. We overestimate the danger because the scary examples are so easy to recall. We connect the dots from individual incidents to a trend that might not even exist.
Wow. Okay, that one really hits home. I can definitely think of times I've done that. It makes you question so many quick judgments.
It does.
So, if this heuristic is everywhere, influencing us like this, what are the real consequences? I mean, beyond just feeling a bit more scared of flying, this must impact our decisions in significant ways, right?
Oh, absolutely. The impacts are quite significant, as the sources really emphasize. A major one is risk misjudgment.
Okay.
People consistently tend to overestimate rare but dramatic dangers. Things like terrorist attacks, shark encounters, maybe getting struck by lightning. Why? Because they get heavy media play, they're vivid.
Right, they stick in the mind.
Exactly. And at the same time, we often underestimate the much more common but less sensational risks,
Like what?
like heart disease, diabetes, even complications from the flu. These things affect far, far more people, but they don't generate the same dramatic headlines or intense fear. They lack that availability.
So we worry about the wrong things, essentially.
Often, yes. Or at least we misallocate our worry and our resources. This also leads directly to decision-making bias. Well, it affects critical choices across the board. Think about investing. A single vivid story about someone losing their life savings in a market crash might make you overly risk-averse, even if long-term data suggests growth.
Yeah, fear taking over.
Or in health. A dramatic anecdote about some miracle cure, maybe from a friend or online, could sway you more than solid clinical trial results.
Right. The story is more powerful than the stats.
It often feels that way. In politics, too. A single compelling story highlighting a particular problem might shape your views on a policy more strongly than, say, broad demographic data showing the scale of the issue. It really filters into countless everyday choices, often unconsciously.
It's like our brains latch onto the vivid image or story and just won't let go. Is there a way to fight that? Or are we just kind of stuck with this biased way of thinking?
Well, that connects to the third big consequence. It really encourages emotional decision-making.
Ah,
The fear, the vividness, the sheer emotional impact of an event that's readily available in your mind, it often just overrides logic. Our statistical reasoning goes out the window.
the gut feeling takes over.
Exactly. When something feels urgent or dangerous, because it's so easy to picture, our emotional brain takes charge. We make choices driven by that feeling, not necessarily by the cool, rational assessment of the actual odds.
So back to my question, can we do anything about it?
Yes. And the crucial first step is simply awareness. Recognizing that many of those powerful gut feelings aren't some kind of magic intuition.
They're just vivid memories.
Often, yes, just vivid memories, easily recalled, playing on repeat and influencing our judgment. Being aware allows you to pause, to question that initial reaction.
Okay, that's helpful. It makes you pause and think, wait, am I reacting to the story or the reality?
Precisely. And it's not just an accidental quirk of our minds either. Our sources point out this heuristic is often deliberately used. Leveraged, you might say.
Ah, so people use this on us. Let's get into that. Where is this strategically applied? This is where it gets really interesting, maybe a little unsettling.
It can be, yeah. It's definitely a powerful tool in several areas. Take marketing, for example, that's practically built on this.
How so?
Brands pour money into creating memorable ads, catchy jingles, using celebrities. Why? They want their product to stick in your head.
To be available.
Exactly. They want their brand to be the first thing that pops into your mind when you're thinking about, say, soda or cars or insurance.
So when I'm at the store,
Right. You're faced with choices. The brand that comes to mind most easily, the one with that funny commercial or the song you can't forget, you're more likely to grab that one. The ease of recall translates subconsciously into a feeling of familiarity or preference.
even if another product is just as good, or maybe even better.
Often, yes. It's about mental real estate. And this isn't just about buying soda. It scales up to big societal issues, like public policy.
How does it play out there?
Well, you often see politicians or advocacy groups pushing for new laws or major initiatives based on highly publicized, but maybe statistically rare incidents.
Like a reaction to a single tragic event.
Exactly. One terrible event gets intense media coverage, generates huge public outcry, and suddenly there's immense pressure to do something.
Right.
Even if the data suggests the problem isn't widespread, or maybe the proposed solution isn't the most effective use of resources for the bigger picture. The sheer availability of that vivid, emotional incident can drive policy. Politicians respond to that powerful public perception.
So resources might get diverted based on the loudest, most recent crisis, not necessarily the biggest underlying need.
That's a real risk, yes.
Hmm.
Think about, say, a city council reacting to a single dramatic but low probability threat. Maybe a rare animal attack by pouring funds into containment, while maybe underfunding basic road safety improvements that could prevent far more common accidents. The vivid threat captures attention.
That's a stark example. And does this show up in our personal finances too?
Definitely. You see it clearly in personal life, especially around things like insurance.
Okay.
People might obsess about buying insurance for really dramatic but unlikely events. Maybe earthquake insurance in an area with very low seismic risk, or specific types of travel insurance against terrorism.
Because they've seen the news coverage when those things do happen.
Exactly. They've seen the devastating images. So they prioritize protecting against these sensational, highly available risks,
While maybe neglecting.
while maybe neglecting insurance for more probable but less exciting risks relevant to their actual lives, like adequate life insurance or disability cover or comprehensive health insurance, things that address more common statistical realities.
Mhm. It really makes you think about how you prioritize.
It does. If you pull back and look at the bigger picture, the availability heuristic isn't just some small mental quirk. It's a really powerful force. It shapes consumer behavior, financial planning, even government agendas. It truly highlights how potent perception can be, sometimes more potent than objective data.
Wow. This has been incredibly insightful, genuinely eye-opening. I feel like I'm going to see this everywhere now.
That's the goal.
So, just to wrap it up neatly, the availability heuristic, it shows how our minds tend to confuse how easily we remember something with how likely it actually is. And this leads us, often without us even realizing it, to misjudge risks, get probabilities wrong, and make decisions based more on what's vivid and easy to recall rather than what's actually common or statistically true.
And the positive takeaway here is that just knowing this, just being aware of this mental shortcut, that awareness is powerful.
Right.
It gives you that chance to pause, to question that immediate gut reaction, to ask yourself, is this based on facts or just a really strong memory or story?
It encourages you to maybe dig a little deeper, look for the actual data, not just run with the most compelling narrative that comes to mind.
Precisely. It's about adding a layer of critical thinking.
Okay, so a final thought for everyone listening. Now that you know about the availability heuristic, what sort of obvious truths or maybe common fears might you want to re-examine in your own life?
Mhm.
What other judgments that feel clear-cut might actually be shaped more by what's vivid in your memory rather than what's truly likely or frequent?
That's a great question to mull over.
Keep digging, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. We'll catch you on the next one.